Everyone, welcome back to HST Clips, where we provide you with insightful discussions on a range of topics related to history, science, and technology. In this episode, we have a fascinating subject to explore. Deji, please kindly introduce us to the topic today.
The topic for today, which is quite fascinating, and is one of the topic that most Nigerians actually don't know about. It's the topic concerning the Great Wall of Benin. We call it the Great Wall of Benin. The intonation we call it Benin. We don't call it Bene. We call it Benin. That's um that's in Edo State currently in Nigeria. So they call it Africa's forgotten marvel. Marvel. Africa's forgotten
Mhm.
marvel.
Many of our viewers may be wondering what exactly is the Wall of Benin, and more specifically, if such a wall existed, why is it no longer visible today?
Well, it's actually something that was even surprising to me when I stumbled on the topic about Nigeria having a great wall. Then it's something that was built in the 800 AD. That's after the death of Christ, and it's quite big, it's quite large. If you check, if you check all over the internet to get research, it covers about 16,000 kilometers. It's great.
So to put
That
that
is
into perspective, the Earth's circumference is what 41,000 kilometers. And if we are saying that the Great Wall of Benin is 16,000 kilometers, that means it covers about 40%
40%.
of the Earth's circumference.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
So it was actually cited as one of the lengthiest ancient fortifications in the world because primarily it was built for defense.
Yeah, based on my history, the Great Wall of Benin was built by the Edo's people in the Kingdom of Benin. So they call it the Kingdom of Benin. It was not like a state then; it was like an empire where you have all these Oyomesi, the Empire of Oyo, those things. It was just like an empire also. It was mainly a big central form where we have of course one of the most popular trade then was craftsmanship, because in the Benin kingdom, we had a lot of sculptures that were taken by the British Empire that was sold for high value currency then. And we talk about slave trade also was one of the things that were trading then. So now the Great Wall of Benin was built by the Edo people of the Kingdom of Benin, which flourished between the 11th and the 19th centuries in present-day South Nigeria. That's that's about 660, yeah, 660 years
It actually took 660 years to
to
build
build
that
it.
wall.
Between that number of years, that's that many years was the Wall of China built? I think that was a lot. That was more, because I think it's the Wall of China is quite larger. I think the Wall of China is it 32? Is it 32,000 kilometers? Is it 32? Actually, the Great Wall of China has a length of approximately 21,000 kilometers. That's 5,000 kilometers more than the Wall of Benin. Massive.
Are we talking about in height or
Hmm? In
Are we talking
length,
about in length?
in length,
60,000 kilometers.
16,000 kilometers. That one is 21,000 kilometers. That's more.
You know that if you could drive 16,000 kilometers without stopping, it will take you about 200 to 300 hours of continuous driving, depending on your speed. That's how great the distance.
Okay. And the funny thing is, a lot of Nigerians don't know about it. It says so much about how we do not value our history, how we do not value our culture to a certain extent. Because to me, I felt that war should have even been brought back, at least to an extent. Maybe it cannot be that large and big. At least there's something be evident showing that there was a war here, and they tried to even build it. You can mean there's technology currently in most part of the world. You can bring in the Chinese, you can bring in the Germans to rebuild it. so that it can be like a tourist ground. I mean, look at the wall of China. It still stands there today, and it's attract a lot of tourism around the world.
And fun fact, you know the number of hours it took to build um, the Great Wall of Benin is the same exact number of hours, like labor hours, to build the Pyramid of Giza. And today, the Pyramid of Giza is considered one of the most fascinating sites to visit. That's in Egypt. So compare Pyramid of Giza now to what's it called, Great Wall of Benin. So if somehow, some way, Great Wall of Benin still existed today, do you know how that could have benefited Nigeria in terms of tourist attraction and the income that would have arise to that would have actually come from the tourist what is it called, the tourists, what do you call it now,
Attraction of tourists to your place in your to your country, and it's
well, so much it would have benefited Nigeria
to that
a lot.
to that.
I think there's some research about the remnants, because I know they said when the British invaded Benin and they destroyed the wall, they were able to like steal some remnants which like artifacts for Benin Kingdom around that time, which were taken to museums around the world till today. So even if we are saying that they should rebuild the wall, I don't know how that is going to be feasible, because considering the distance, that's 16,000 kilometers. If we are saying that's 40% of the circumference of the world, it's going to be a great task, because it took them 660 years to build. Just now, okay, well,
But we have technology. Yes, it will take them maybe 10 decades. It will take them maybe a decade to build it. A decade, but it can't take them up to 600 years. With the technology that we have today, no, it cannot. It cannot. I mean, most of them then they mainly used giants, as giant Africans, to to do hard labor then. So and based on research, there were a lot of giant Africans then.
but it was built from clay and wood. The materials used for building that wall is just primarily clay and wood. But could you say that slaves actually built the wall?
To then, I mean, because look at the kingdom was renowned for its advanced culture, that's and also intricate bronze sculptures, like you said, highly organized society. At its peak, the kingdom of Benin was a powerful empire with sophisticated administrative system and with a thriving economy based on trade, agriculture, and craftsmanship. Now, this trade that you're talking about, hey, we all know slave trade was number one on the charts. Slave trade was number one on the chart. Nigeria was known for agriculture then and craftsmanship majorly. And this craftsmanship led to the um, different sculptures that was stolen because by they were not actually taken by maybe exchange of trade then. Most of them were taken after the invasion by the British Empire. They took a lot of these things, and around the world you find them there costing $200,000 right now. Some of the crafts that they made then.
The question that comes to mind is why on earth would you build a great wall that is 20 meters in height, or 20 feet rather in height? That's like a 20-story building. What are you trying to prevent? So it shows that Benin Kingdom, as at that time, must have been housing like maybe treasure or something, because for you to defend that wall was too great for you to. I mean, what were they trying to protect? Because primarily from research, it shows that it was for defense. But now, and also, how were the Europeans able to break that wall down?
Wow. Well, I mean, you said it was built with clays and woods and the rest.
So it could have been blown into
So we're
pieces.
blown into pieces.
That's
Blown into
that's
pieces.
that's
And
interesting.
it might not actually necessarily be that everything was annihilated from ground. It could be that a particular place that was weak could have been taken advantage of.
And everything will come down from
So if they take advantage of one side, all they just have to do is come from that side. and maybe over time, the place, based on the fact that the place was invaded, it was abandoned. I mean, they will have moved from one location, abandoned the construction. And if you're abandoning something for years, it's a good there. But I'm very sure that there will be remnants of those constructions there.
Yeah, definitely.
It's possible,
Very nice.
very very possible.
And the fun fact about this is a lot of Nigerians don't know that the Great Wall
A
even
lot of people
existed.
don't know.
Even
Nah,
people that come from
a lot
so-called
of them
Benin,
don't know.
they
It's
don't know.
quite difficult to find even one of them that even knows, because I was even surprised. I was telling someone about it. It's like, nah, it's not possible. It's like as if Africa is Nigeria is not capable of doing such a wondrous marvel. Oh my God. The Great Wall was constructed during the height of the kingdom's power. So they had a particular amount of power. Then they felt powerful enough, and they said, "Let us build the wall." And they built it in such a way that it was transferred from one king to the other king to the other king. So kings that came afterwards were all into that idea of continuing to build and maintain that construction. I mean,
Only to be destroyed by the
only to be
Europeans.
destroyed by the
Something
specifically the British.
something that you built for 660 years
Mm. It was actually for defense, based on what
was literally
it was based on
yes.
defense. So they said the kingdom faced constant threat from neighboring tribes, not necessarily from foreign
foreign.
entities, neighboring tribes and Europeans, actually, European colonial forces. And the wall served as a formidable barrier against invasion. And additionally, the wall helped regulate trade and movement in and out of the kingdom, ensuring
Mm.
that the Benin people maintained control over their territory. So
So it was actually useful to them as at that
it
time.
was,
And the British invasion that we're talking about here is 1897. So that's it's not actually a long time ago. If you're
a long
looking at
time.
it, it's not actually a long time ago. That's like some about I think it's up to 200 years.
Mm.
1897 should not be up to 200 years.
But there's also efforts. I mean, rediscovering the Great Wall of China of Benin. Sorry. So efforts are underway to document the remaining sections of the wall, because obviously, as I said, it can't be everything that will be annihilated. So sections of the wall and raise awareness about its importance. So scholars and activists are calling for the wall to be recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which would help to protect it from further destruction and ensure that its story is told to the future generations. And I think they are failing in that, because not everyone still knows about it. Not
So
everyone knows about it.
so what would be the advice you're giving to Nigeria? We should all travel down to Benin, see where.
But we can actually try it one time. Might not be now, maybe tomorrow, maybe in the future. Actually go and try them, maybe visit. I mean, it's one of the things that we actually do on this channel. We'll still tend to visit some sites, visit some historical places, mysterious places.
Well, come to think about it, are we
So
saying
why?
the starting point of that wall is from Benin? Because if it stretches out 16,000 kilometers, where does it end?
Well,
And if by so we are saying this wall existed in Africa, does it mean that Africa is portrayed to be smaller in size,
I
whereas in
mean,
reality, Africa is actually larger
yeah,
than what it is?
yeah. If it's 16,000 kilometers,
And that's 40%
and
of the
that's 40%
circumference
of
of
the
the earth.
circumference of the earth, then Africa is actually no doubt, if not the biggest century, if not the
Biggest
biggest
continent.
continent
Yeah,
in the world, it will probably be the second, because I think Asia is also big. So
that's
16,000
interesting.
kilometers is more like from here to, no, from London to South Africa, plus extra kilometers left, because from London to South Africa is 12,000 kilometers.
Yeah,
That's massive. Africa is actually portrayed to be small, but it's actually massive.
it is.
So they said India, this is in comparison with other, when you're comparing Africa to other continents, India covers about 3.3 million kilometers. So Africa versus Russia, Africa is 1.8 times larger than Russia. Russia is large.
Africa is
1.8 times larger than Russia. Russia is the largest country in the world by land area, covering about 17.1 million square meters. But Africa is still significantly larger. What are you talking about? So now there's another one again, Africa versus Canada. Africa is 3 times larger than Canada. Canada covers about 9.98 million kilometers, million square kilometers. Now, Africa versus Australia. Africa is 4 times larger than Australia. And Africa is also larger than the United States. There's a place where I saw Africa is large. So, Africa versus China. You know that China is actually large. One of the Asian countries. Africa is 3.2 times larger than China. Most likely, the Benin Kingdom was have been, because if you look at all of the places in Africa, not sorry, in Nigeria, then when it comes to the story behind the invasion of colonial masters, then you will see that Benin is one of the places where they generated a lot of money. Yes, you can talk about Lagos then. Lagos was a little bit more advanced, so it was more of like economic harbor. They bring in stuffs. There was nothing of value that they could actually take, except for being able to come through. Then it
the
was ship.
sea, yeah.
Through then it was ship, so they had to come through Lagos, Port Harcourt, places like that, River State. But places like Benin City was closer to the other northern, is it north,
Southern.
southern part of Nigeria. So through then, it's and the things, sculptures that were taken then were taken through Benin. A lot of them were taken through Benin. Yeah, there were
If you
some. There were
travel
some
out,
also
you
in
if you
other states,
travel
but
out
majorly,
nowadays, you would when you go to museums, you see them displayed with
yeah.
the artifacts, and majorly from Africa. So Africa as a whole, we've been looted and that's exploited by the Europeans.
Yeah, of course, of course. So we come to conclusion based on this. Now, Africa, based on the land size, Africa is not just a continent; it's a colossal landmass that dwarfs most countries and even other continents. Its size is a testament to its incredible diversity, from the Sahara Desert in the north to the rainforest of the Congo Basin and the savannas of the Serengeti. Now, understanding Africa's true scale helps us to appreciate its importance in global geography, history, and culture. I mean, we just knew something today that no one actually even knew about. Probably someone watching today doesn't even know that there was something like this in Africa,
Yeah,
especially in Nigeria.
but now the information is out for everyone's consumption. So now you know the Great Wall of Benin existed.
So as we continue to explore and celebrate the wonders of ancient world, let us also not forget that the Great Wall of Benin, it's a testament of the greatness of African civilization, and reminder that history is often written by those who prevail, by rediscovering, preserving the forgotten marvels, especially this, so that we can honor the legacy of the Kingdom of Benin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you for watching. Please drop a like, share, and subscribe. And do not forget to hit the notification button. Psych!